tell you one thing, T. I'm getting too old for this nonsense.
Oh, it's a setup, it's a setup. 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 Trailer, there's a mo, it's a beast.
Welcome back to the Creep Show. I'm AJ Pateras.
I'm Aurelio Martinez, and it's Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, yeah. I drank a lot last night, so I made up for the pregame not happening today.
Oh, it's going to happen. You just don't know it yet.
I hope not. I was pretty hungover today. I mean, I was not. I had sodas last night, and it was delicious.
So what are the topics for today?
Today we're going to talk about spring ball, football, that is. Since everybody's about to start, football season is officially kind of underway for most schools, or about to be. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about Lonzo Ball and his $10 million shoe that people are trying to buy.
People are actually trying to buy that thing.
Dude, I was on Twitter. Marcellus Wiley was all about it. He's like, purchase Marcellus. Welcome to the shoe club. Big baller brand.
All right, so let's go ahead and start with our first topic.
All right, spring football. For me, it's going to be different. I'm in a different spot, but typically spring football is where you start to really just introduce your everything you're going to be doing come the fall, or a good portion of everything you're going to be doing in the fall.
How much of your package do you think you're going to put in spring?
Defensively, we'll put in everything up front in terms of our front and our stunting game. Coverage-wise, we'll probably only do 2 coverages. We'll probably only do our quarters concept and our 3x1 especial modelo concept.
So you this is a new defense for this team, correct?
Well, so everything we're doing is new, from offense to defense. The offensive coaches that I've got have never really worked in the spread, and it's not that they don't understand the concepts of the spread, because they do. It's just they've never coached in it, they've never played in it. All of them have been more traditional, either West Coast style passing teams or old school football. Tight end, 2 backs, run the ball, and then play action off of it. So everything's new. Terminology's new for everybody, and then the concepts are new for everybody, and how it's packaged currently.
Okay.
So,
what are your goals? What do you?
Oh man, I don't know. I think a lot of people's goals for spring tend to be, kind of see who can do what. How athletic is your team? Especially for me, I don't know the kids. I know the coaches. Many of the coaches know the kids and have worked with the kids in the past. But, in terms of me knowing what athlete can do what, I've seen them in the weight room, so I have an idea of who can be athletic and who can't. But realistically, for me, it's just going to be evaluating guys who can do what, and then that evaluation will go for 2 months, and then we come back for fall practice, and it's like who can tackle and who can actually who can do all the things they did in the spring with pads on in the fall. Yeah,
but there's also summer in between that. How long is your spring?
I think we're about the same schedule you guys are. We're 3.5 weeks or so.
Oh, okay.
But I have days off, so this for the 15th we start, and then we'll have a day off the very next day, but we'll lift weights in the morning, and then we'll have the Friday and Monday off before and after Memorial Day.
Okay.
So we'll have roughly 14, maybe 16 practices, something like that. So I forget what the number.
And then your summer practice?
We're going 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. I'm giving everybody Fridays off.
How long?
We'll probably go 3:30 to 6.
No, not like how many weeks?
We'll end. The last day will be for the program will be Saturday when we come down for the Ventura JV Passing Tournament.
Okay.
Our freshmen and sophomores will come down for that and compete in that tournament, which is a good tournament. So for the freshmen, it's they have they have a greater. They're going to have more errors and more hiccups as they go because they don't have as much time. They're learning completely new things, but again, they're learning it for the first time, so that's kind of a blessing. Varsity-wise, it can be a little bit more challenging because they're having to relearn or learn new things for the first time that they've never even heard about or done. What about you guys? What have you guys been talking about in terms of goals for at least the first week,
Well,
or first couple weeks?
So they last year the freshmen ran one of our defenses, and that's what we're starting with. The year prior, we did, it was a new defense, so we started on the opposite side. But this way, they have a base already, and we're just gonna fix a couple things here and there, and then we're gonna see how I'm gonna talk to one of the other coaches, see how much how much of our package they put in with stunts up on the front, because I know we're only doing one coverage probably, and then we'll see from there how many more coverages we could get in.
Yeah.
But since they already learned it. Technically, they learned it somewhat, not exactly the same, but they learned that that defense. We're going to start with that.
So you're playing off of what the kids know rather than just teaching them whatever.
Yes,
That's good. You probably have a little bit more success at least the first few weeks by doing that.
yeah, I believe so, and we'll see how fast they can pick it up. And if they learn it pretty quickly, we'll probably maybe even install everything by the end of spring. But that's 3 weeks, and it's technically 4 or 5 coverages, so I don't know if we'll get it all in, but we'll get a bulk of it in if they can pick it up.
Yeah. Well, I know we're doing the same defense as we did last year, right? With me being a part of our staff in Ventura, going up there. My goal is to get everything in, by summer, by the first week of summer, second week of summer, have everything in, and then just continue to rep it as many times as possible, because I found that was pretty successful for us last year. We probably went too fast early with putting in things, but realistically you need, 2 coverages, and then you can do all of your stuff up front. I don't think you install blitzes until you need to. You just work on footwork and fundamentals. So defensively, we're more just learn the package, get them lined up, teach them the concepts and reads, and just get them comfortable in what we're doing. Offensively, we're only going to put a handful of things in. We're going to probably put in 3 run plays and about 7 pass plays in spring, and get them good at getting with tempo and throwing the ball in time and stuff like that. At least that's the mindset for me. And those coaches are kind of deferring a lot to me about what do you want, and I understand that, because obviously me being the new guy, you want to dictate what's going on. But I've been pushing back, saying, no, what do you guys want? Trying to get their feel or get their feedback and see, get a feel for what they know, what they can do. Because I can dictate and drive the car all I need to, but the more guys are doing more, the less I have to do, and that means we'll probably get better faster too, instead of just relying on me. Because you've been a part of it when it was me kind of
Dictating, yes.
yeah, and doing a lot, and then we were way better the next year when you guys just did more.
Yeah, still dictating, but yes.
Not even close. 2 separate years, and that's how I look at it right now. Is kind of my motivation for spring is I've done that. That first year was hard. That second year was so much easier. And a product of that was allowing coaches to coach, trusting that they're going to do their job, and then helping when necessary.
Yeah, but the kids also had a big part to do with that. The classes were that was a better team.
No question. And those guys were actually the first group that went into the weight room. The first JV class that actually went into a full, where now you guys have it kind of running like a machine. 3-4 years into it now.
Yes.
It's pretty good. What defensively, you talked about putting in your stunts, or finding out what they know. What is your goal in terms of doing? You guys have a variety of different things you can do. They're all the same look, but it's just kind of tweaks to it. Mm-hmm. Are you trying to get all of that in as fast as you can and kind of review, or just give them a little bit and see if they get comfortable?
Well, I was told by a good old Coach Smith to put everything in and then review. So that's kind of been the philosophy. Just put everything in and review, keep reviewing, and he did a good job of that. But he's no longer with us. He's retired now. So we got a youngster coming up, and he worked with these guys last year. So I think he'll be fine. But hopefully, like I said, we'll see how much we can get in there. I know that they probably, if it's the same guys that he had last year, they probably know the base pretty well. So I'll be throwing in some stunts in there pretty quick, maybe even week 1 of spring.
Yeah. Okay. So Smith, you talked about Smith retiring and then a young guy coming up. I know there's potential changes for your staff. There's changes at everyone's staff every year, but specifically for your staff, it sounds like you have a lot of guys that coach the same position. what are you going to do in terms of having guys take on different roles and being uncomfortable a little bit to teach? How's that going to impact you guys in spring in terms of teaching these kids new things?
I don't know if we do have anybody that's going to coach a different position. Last I heard, everybody was still coaching what they've coached.
Well, you got guys like Nico and Keenan and you know, and all three of you can coach linebackers, I'm assuming.
Keenan is no longer, he got dropped down to the freshman. And coach told me that me and Nico are both coaching linebackers. Or if I want to, I could go back to what I did last year, and that's just oversee the defense.
Yeah. Do you is Dylan? You guys are going to have Dylan still down? Is he going to go up?
We don't know. We don't know. He I think he could do it. It's just he's not reliable. I'm sorry to say that, but it's what it is, man. He's a youngster. He still has school. He popped smoke one time to go to Disneyland, I think. So instead of going and coaching like he's supposed to, and that kind of puts me in a bind because now I have to coach corners, and I didn't play corner, and I haven't studied it. Maybe I should study it a little bit more on how to coach those guys up, but that's what I ended up having to do a couple times last year.
Yeah. Well, I remember Tim, the first year I was a head coach, he said we didn't have an O-line coach at that time, and we had all those guys freaking back out on us. You know, it was like weekly, it felt like, and then I was like, they had an O-line coach up. And I was like, why don't you just give us him so we can, work with our guys? And he goes, well, as a head coach, you got to be able to coach everything. So when you're, now you've been, a DC, this is at least your third straight year of doing it.
Yes.
I don't know if you've done it prior to that.
I did it 1 year at Wainimi. It wasn't very successful, or I wasn't very successful.
But also a different school, different dynamic across the board. That's one thing that you're gonna, it's what I'm continuing to learn is you got to fucking know everything almost. It's just almost becoming, as a coordinator or as a head coach, you really have to be able to impact whatever you're doing pretty successfully with dictating. I said it, dictate terms, but dictating kind of the goals of the philosophies of what you guys are going to accomplish. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it goes for you guys with new coaches, with younger coaches, guys that necessarily. Well, we know, pretty well, but maybe you've never coached with. And I think so that's going to be interesting to see how those guys kind of thrive or struggle or a combination of the two. I think it'll be very interesting to see for you guys. What about offensively? I know you're not an offensive coach per se, but is there something that you're hoping for offense this year versus what you guys had last year? Because this will be now your, fourth offensive coordinator or fourth different offense, but really it's Pike again for the third year. I mean, is there any differences between what you've been around with Schomer and Gregorchuk and Pike as offensive coaches and kind of how things go?
Well, Pike's like a machine almost. He'll keep running plays and running plays and running plays and setting people up, and he'll find the other team's weaknesses. So I'm okay with that. It's just a question of how many weapons does he have and how many coaches are helping him.
Yeah.
Because right now the defensive side of the ball has like every position filled, and offense, I think they have 3 offensive guys. So we're looking for some more coaches. I think losing Joe hurt a lot, but he wouldn't be with us anyways. He'd probably be a varsity coach,
Right.
But it just that receiver spot, that you need that coach.
Yes, you do.
You need a receivers coach because that's the part of the offense. We spread them out to run the ball, but when you need to throw the ball, you got to have a guy that's going to coach up your guys.
Absolutely, I agree. Do you find that you guys have? I mean, are you going to have any tackling? Are you going to have any 7-on-7 stuff? Are there any things outside of maybe just installing your package that you might try to incorporate, or is this going to be more of a we're going to just do what we do and just kind of work on getting better at those things? Or are you guys having a bigger picture of your install in terms of the defense and offense?
There's on defense. There's definitely going to be a little bit of tackling. Going to keep doing the Seahawk tackling stuff. And 7-on-7, we were supposed to throw this Sunday to be honest with you, but we declined. So yeah, we're going to do a lot of stuff, and from what I hear, maybe even the first day of summer, we were supposed to have do a little passing tournament, or not passing tournament, but a passing game, and the freshmen were going to be involved too. But I don't know if that's going to happen, because how are you supposed to do that with the kids don't even know the offense or defense, other than drawing pictures, but you don't even know what you have.
Yeah, well, freshman, I think it's impossible.
Well,
At least
not
that
day
first
one,
week.
day two. It was
But
going to
still,
be day two, yes. But
So we're gonna have day two. Day two, we throw against Santa Ynez and maybe a couple other schools.
yeah, but you're freshman?
Well, no.
Exactly.
See, me coming up there, I'm thinking, oh well, I'll have 3 levels, and no, I have 2 levels. So my sophomores and my juniors and seniors are going to be my varsity team, and I'll manage the sophomores that need to go down and get more experience or some confidence. But I won't put my freshmen in that situation until the end of summer, kind of as an evaluation of, all right, well, what did we need to do better to fix what where they're at. For them, it'll be the JV passing tournament at Ventura. With you guys, coming down and getting some experience against some bigger schools, some more physical schools. But it'd be a good experience for those kids to see, hey, this is what you're going to see all football season anyways. Varsity-wise, we're only throwing twice. We're not doing tournaments. We're not doing... And my philosophy on that is not in a contrast to Tim's. It's more of a... I don't necessarily believe that 7-on is what dictates how good or bad you're going to be in the fall. I think it almost creates more bad habits. We have seen it, especially at that tournament last year when we went down to Saugus, to that park, where, I think it was West Ranch or one of those schools. They ran some stupid offense that probably wasn't even their offense, and it was 7-on based, and they just ran fullbacks right up the center's butt. And, I've only seen one team do that, and that was Moore Park, and they put a dude right there. And, again, that was one time ever that I've seen a team do that. And... So I think it creates bad habits. I think you're talking about you need to stop the run all the time, but yet you're teaching your linebackers to get the hell out of there all the time. You're teaching your secondary guys to be abused. Even if they are good, you're teaching them to get abused because they have to cover for so long. And then offensively, quarterbacks get too comfortable, and we all know, especially me and you as defensive coaches, when you put a little pressure, quarterbacks don't throw that way.
Yeah.
And so I don't like it. And I also thought of it in this context, too, is everybody's learning new things up there. We had the opportunity to play in a 7-on game or 7-on tournament the first Saturday, so the Saturday after Mother's Day. And it was going to be at St. Joseph's, and it was a big deal, like a big thing. And I looked at it and said, I don't think that's what we should be doing. Just from the standpoint of it'll be our first week of football, spring football, and we're trying to learn new things. We're just trying to get an understanding of things. And I'm going to be evaluating guys. And if we're going into a situation early where kids are not comfortable, they don't understand stuff, and they don't have success, they're going to immediately attribute their success or lack thereof to what it's always been. And I can't do that. So I'm investing more in teaching and more practice time and more skill development at a premium rather than we're going to go compete against another school. Now, I do have 2. We're going to go to Santa Ynez to play 3 schools, and we're going to go to San Marcos to play 3 schools. I tried to get schools to come to us, but everybody up there takes their dead period in June. And most of the schools down south take theirs in the last week of July. So it's interesting trying to find how that schedule works for me up there. It may push it to where I have to push it back just because of how all the schools are up there, because I don't really want to drive for spring and 7-on stuff. I just don't think that's worth our time. But it's just part of the different philosophy. Even our summer, we're going less time in the summer. And part of that is it's more teaching. I don't have as many 7-on things scheduled to specifically teach. So I guess it's just a kind of a difference in philosophy. Or being realistic to what the situation I'm in. You said something about tackling. What kind of tackling would you guys do? Because I know a lot of people talk about concussions. Me and you know how good this tackling system is, and for us, at least how it's been. What is your take on how you guys would involve tackling in the spring?
We'd have different coaches or different positions doing different things, like the hawk roll and the angle tackle and all that all the stuff that's on that Seahawks video. Just so they get used to it, body mechanics get used to it, and gets their head out of the way. That's not the way that I was taught to tackle, but it's the new age, so you got to teach, keep the kids safe.
Do you have a preference to the old school or the new stuff that's being used? Is there a preference either way for you as a coach, or is it just a guy that's played and seen it in both kind of both time periods, old school and new school?
I don't understand your question.
Well, I mean, do you have a preference for a style of teaching tackling? Do you
Oh,
do you think the old school's better than what the new stuff is?
I definitely like the old school stuff better, but
What specifically stands out to that style versus what they're trying to teach now?
just the fact that like you're throwing it's more of like a shoulder and getting your head out of the way, but a shoulder, there could be shoulder injuries. I haven't seen any, so maybe that's me just thinking too much. But it's like you could break a tackle easier. The way that I don't know if you were taught that to put your face mask in someone's chest, right? And you bow your neck back so you don't break your neck by putting your head down and just bury your face mask into his chest. That way, you still have he has to break your head and your arms to get out of the tackle.
Yeah, I don't remember who taught me tackling. I mean, it had to have been Cowan or Smith, because that was my first year playing tackle football. But I'd played 2-hand touch and 7-on and stuff like that style football, right? But I never played tackle up to that point. But I just remember I was never a confident tackler, and even into my senior year, I don't think I was a confident tackler because I don't think we ever really taught it. Personally, I mean, I don't know if the expectation is you just teach it when they're younger and then you just expect them to do it. I mean, I know we did some drills. There's no question. I know we did drills, but the emphasis we put on the last few years to tackle, how to get there, levels, aiming points, your eyes. There were so many more different drills that are incorporated in it that I feel like we're teaching it better now and having just as much success and it being just as physical as we were at the old school. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. I just think there's more drills specific to tackling now that you can use without pads that I'm sure have always been there, and I'm sure other schools and other teams have done it. But that Seahawks video seems to be a great resource for coaches to utilize, because even if you didn't tell the kid to get his out of the way, right, and you still told him to bury his face mask, all of those drills leading up to the finish of that tackle are what's so great about that Seahawks video. Because you're talking about, stance, you're talking about leverage, you're talking about how you pursue, things of kids where they just chase the ball and then all of a sudden they cut back, the kid falls down, and you're like, well, you're an over pursuer, you mean you're a non-tackler. So teaching them how to do those things I think is really good. The finish, I get why we don't put the head in, you don't emphasize the head. Concussion's a big deal.
Yes.
But, you still, look at like Diego Pierce last year. Little skinny corner, was like 5'5" for us when he was a sophomore. He was maybe 5'7", 5'8" as a junior. He was a very efficient tackler. And for being that little and tackling in space all the time, getting a guy to the ground is just as effective as a big hit, if not better, because he eliminated a big play. Watching film on Rico, because I'm watching our film last year of trying to cut up to create little videos to show kids, from up at Cabrillo saying this is what I'm talking about, and Rico making a read from 10 yards away from the ball and making a tackle in space. And then you have your periods of time where you got two guys coming up to a tackle. And so that's what I think is really important in the spring is incorporating it. That's why I was kind of asking if you had a preference, because I'm going to do it every day up there. And maybe do it a little bit more than what we did at Ventura this last year. Because I felt Tim at times was like, no, we need to throw 7 on. I'm like, no, we don't. We could do this. We could do these other 3 drills.
Well, yeah, that's the problem when you have an offensive-minded head coach. Stealing your time.
True. Well, and I'm a defensive coach, but I think I've done a pretty good job when I've been a head coach to make sure that both sides have time. And if one side needs more or is a little bit better, you try to cater to, make it work to give them more time or more reps or something to get them better. When you guys finish spring ball, what is something you're looking for specifically to say, okay, when we come back after our little break here to summer, we're going to be able to do this, this, and this?
Just probably, like I said, our defense have at least, all the fronts in and maybe 2-3 coverages, and just review when we come back for summer, because they probably forgot, with those with the time off, what to do. So we'd probably have to review it. But I'll be happy if we, could put all that in. Maybe if I put in my stunts and my blitzes for the fronts and 2 to 3 coverages, and I'd be good.
That's not bad. Do you guys have any 7-on stuff in spring that you guys will be doing?
I
like
believe,
against other schools?
I believe so, but I don't have my calendar on me right now, so.
So you guys will be throwing against other schools in summer or in spring ball?
I believe so.
Wow. That's putting a lot of pressure on those young guys to perform early.
Because, well, our summer got diluted. I don't know what happened, if I believe the season's starting earlier or something's going on, but only 3 weeks of spring, 3 weeks of summer.
Well, part of that is you guys don't get out of school until middle of summer. So you guys get out of school the Friday before Father's Day. And like Cabrillo up there, they get out the Friday before that. And so I think that's part of it, because Tim starts his spring ball. So realistically, you could start your spring ball in April if you wanted. There's no restriction to that. But you have to have 3 weeks off before you come back. So whether you do 3 weeks off early in the June or you do 3 weeks later in July. And then you count back from your first game a certain amount of practices to get your first practice date. So it's just interesting to see how you guys are doing that early because of, I guess, your messed up schedule. Do you think that's going to hurt you guys? Because that's a day of practice, correct?
The day after the graduation?
No, you're 7-on stuff in May, or your spring 7-on games. Are those on Saturdays or are those weekday?
I think they're weekday days, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know. It shouldn't hurt us too much. The line could still go do their work on their fronts and stunts, and then the other guys, the secondary, can work on the coverage.
So you still get some value out of it.
Yeah.
What is there something that you're specifically preaching to the kids right now when you get them? I know you haven't been able to go to morning weights, but when you have them in the spring, is there going to be a voice of something that they're going to do as a defensive unit? Is there a philosophy you're going to bring this year? People have different quotes and mottos. Is there something like that you're going to be talking to those kids about? In terms of, this is what we're going to be?
Not yet. I haven't thought about it, to be honest with you. I haven't even started writing up my plan for spring, but I should get on that. But the favorite quote, right? Cheat now, you cheat on your wife.
Well, yeah. I used the line the other day in our weight program that we have to prepare to be like a fourth quarter team, so you got to have more energy at the end of your game. And so I kept preaching finish the other day, and but up there they've never done some of the things we're doing already, and I've only been there a short period of time, so I can only imagine that our spring football practices are going to be dynamically different than what they did, just in terms of how it's structured and how fast we'll go. Because when we finished up our second year together as on JV coaches, our first year we didn't run practices that fast. We had our moments, but we weren't fast. That second year, our practices were very, 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 very fast, to the point where we ran that skills camp. That skills camp was faster than freshman was, and it was faster than varsity was, and they were 7th and 8th graders. So I think staying true to that type of tempo and teaching them how to finish drills, finish through everything they're doing is going to be I think what I'm going to preach this spring.
Quick question. So you said that you've brought some stuff over that they're not used to. So do you think maybe you shocked them a little bit?
Oh yeah, no question. I've shocked them. I think I think people are shocked at my intensity. You know this. I mean, we played together. You know me personally and professionally as a coach. But I spend a lot of time doing what we do. Right, I'm invested in doing it, and I don't like to do something half-assed. So if I'm going to do it, I try to do it my best in my ability. And so things like the weight room, I think they're surprised that I'm getting up so early and driving up there and running it. But when I asked them, I said, well, if I didn't do that, who's running weight room? And they all kind of looked at me like, no, I'm like, exactly. So if I don't do it, someone else is not going to do it. So therefore, we're going to do it, because if we're going to be good, we have to. So that's been a shock to them. The type of workouts. The first couple days, they were really sore, which I expected because I had seen how they worked out. I did that first month of observing the program, observing coaches, observing people, and I'm still doing that, and I'm going, people are just half-ass. And that's kind of the biggest thing. The kids aren't half-ass. The kids don't know any different. You tell them what to do, they're going to do it. Whether you're successful or not, I don't think they look at it that way. They look at it as, this is what we're supposed to do. So the weight room and how we structured it I was taking Tim's template of let's build strength and endurance, and I'm talking about going fast all the time, Well, then we have to work out that way. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And that first day, kids couldn't get up the bar on bench press. I mean, it was pitiful. I mean, it was fucking pathetic. And after that first week, I had heard from the youth president and some other people saying, yeah, these kids are saying this is the hardest workout they've ever done. And we're doing the lowest possible weight, but we're repping it 20 times, 3 times. You know, so they're getting 60 reps on some of these things. But we're doing like squats and bench and cleans and push-ups and, you know, different things like that. Warm-ups that just change their body. And you can just see that they're buying into that, because Friday's workout was, we did a circuit. So I'm making Fridays our circuit day. And then Monday, Tuesday, Thursday will be our regular, just, you know, we're going to lift and work out days. And that circuit, I felt like they were coasting. And again, this is like 3.5 weeks now of doing this, or almost 4 weeks now. And they were coasting, it looked like. What I noticed was I didn't think they were coasting now after thinking about it, but it looked like it initially. When they finished the workout, they were dead tired, but I had kids yelling at each other, pumping each other up to finish the workout. It was the first time I'd seen them kind of get to that point where, like, oh man, like they're starting to get it a little bit, you know, and it really pumped me up and motivated me, you know, and usually we're the ones motivating them, and it was the other way. But what stands out now, kind of having thought about it over the last last 2 days, was they're getting stronger, because they weren't coasting. It was getting easier for them to lift that amount of weight at that duration. So therefore, now I know I've been building that strength. So that's been the first thing that's been different. And grade checks, they didn't do grade checks ever. So that was something shocking. So when I started tracking grade checks, we had like 25 of the 50-something kids all had D's or F's or were ineligible. And then I got the progress report, and only 6 of those 25. And I'm attributing it to grade checks, because that's the only thing I know that was different during that time. I didn't change their grades. They did. But I just tracked them and pushed them. And let them know, like, you need to get your grades up. So those 2 things have been part of it. These meetings, we're doing offense, defense meetings like we did at Ventura for an hour, 5:30 to 6:30. And we're just going over, 30 minutes of offense, 30 minutes of defense. Just basic information, just giving them a watered-down version of the package, but just enough so that they can listen and understand. And then we're giving them access to huddle, and I'm making sure that they're going on and checking the playbooks and stuff. So those things so far have been the 3 things that have stood out. But, my principal and my athletic director are like, man, you're always on it. You're on to something. You're on this. You're doing this. You go, we can't catch up to you right now. And I just think that's kind of like maybe how I am. But it's part of also the way they've done business for so long, is they kind of they twiddle their thumbs and drag their feet. So I make sure I double tap on questions I have. Or if I bring up something like, I want tables and chairs in our football room. We have desks. I was told it can happen. So then I followed up to say, when is this going to happen? And they said, you have to wait till school ends. Right? So if I didn't say anything, I wouldn't have gotten a hard time. But I said something, and now I have a date. I had to draw a diagram of the baseball field, softball field setup that's down the hill from our football field. So it's literally just down this little slope. It's a massive field. It's kind of like the baseball field. Just widen it and make it longer at Ventura. I mean, it's massive, and there's a lot more open space. So I took graphing paper and I drew up the field the way I wanted it drawn up on the field with chalk or paint or whatever. And I was like, all right. So I sent an email Monday just asking if we were on track to have this done by the 15th. And my AD was like, yeah, we're tracking. And then I saw my AD later in the week, and he had talked to the grounds guy about it. The grounds guy needed that diagram because he had lost it already. And the AD was like, yeah, we got to get it done next week because it has to be ready for your first practice. So me kind of double tapping that, saying, hey, when can I meet this guy, or are we going to have the field line? So those are the things I'm seeing that I just don't think have ever been there. A little bit of organization, a little bit of intensity, pushing people to be uncomfortable, and then asking people to do stuff, and then following up and saying, hey, are we sure we're going to get this done? Because I feel like a lot of people just, if it doesn't get done, they don't care. It doesn't impact anybody. And I think that's kind of been the mindset for so many years there. And it's not so many, it's like 15 plus years. And the more I talk to people, the more I keep hearing that. So those are just some subtle things that are doing. But I definitely know the mornings, me driving up early, I think a lot of people respect that up there. I think the kids are respecting that, going, man, dude, this guy's committed to us. And I think that's the biggest thing. and talking to Isaac and Diego the other day, that was kind of the feedback I got from them. That I pushed those guys hard, and they respected that, and we had a good time. So we got a kid I think up there named York, so I call him Peppermint Patty. And then I got another kid who's his name is Cobra Barias or Rubrias or something like that. I can't say it, but it's Cobra, so I call him Cobra Kai. So the kids are, you're doing that dynamic with them, which is cool. So I'm interested to see how spring is going to translate with new coaches, new philosophy, new style, new intensity, because you never know what you're going to get into a new environment. And especially when you want to be in spring ball where, like you said, my goal is to have this stuff in, and hopefully we're pretty good at that and we review it. Well, I'm just hoping everybody, competes at a high level and learns and gets better each day, because like I've told you, we could be 0-10, we could be 5-5, we could be 1-9, we could be 6-4. I mean, the sky's the limit for us talent-wise. We're limited, but if we're just getting better every day, I think we're going to be okay down the road.
I need a winning season so we can get a Disney movie made.
Disney movie, if that happens, is what, 2-3 years in the making, right? So we've got to have success a little bit each year, and then compete for playoffs and championships. But I keep talking. I talk about league. I talk about winning league. I talk about going to the playoffs. I talk about CIF. Like, I'm talking about things that we're probably not going to do realistically this year. But if we're not talking about those things, then we're never going to be about those things. So I just have that mindset of what we've always been, what we played in. It's really what Phil and Sam Cathcart and Brad, when Brad took over, that's really how it was. And Delgado and all those guys. It was, you just did this and your expectation was you were going to win. And that's how we've started to coach and become coaches. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Well, I guess we only got a few more minutes left, but let's finish up. Do you have anything else with spring ball, or do you want to finish? Are you
No,
pretty good
we're
on that?
good. We can move on to the next topic.
So is Lonzo Ball, big baller brand.
That's the name of the brand.
So his dad has put it out that it's big baller brand, and Lonzo Ball, they presented it to Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour as the main big three shoe companies or apparel companies for sports and stuff, and they all said no. But what he wanted was a partnership agreement with them. So then they would have been equals. So it would have been like Jordan brand, but it's Nike and then Jordan brand or Jumpman, right? So they wanted Nike and then they would be big baller brand. So it would be even. So they're essentially trying to be like what Jordan's brand is.
Yes.
And which is fucking crazy. The kid's played 1 year of college basketball. He's not even in the NBA yet. I mean, and I saw something today about shoe prices from Jordan to Kobe to different people, and this shoe is like $400, $450 or something, and it's $300 more than Jordan's initial shoe, Kobe's initial shoe, and it went through all these other ones. And it's like, dude, Michael Jordan is arguably the best player that ever played the game. Kobe Bryant is arguably one of the top 10 players that's ever played the game, and their shoes, not even close. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, people seem to want them.
That's what I'm saying. Who wants these shoes, and why would you want these shoes?
Have you seen them?
I have not seen them. Who designed the shoe?
I don't know that specifically. So apparently they've been working on this for like. So when his kids were little, he was working on this idea. The dad. Let's see if I can do Big Ball. So I'm going to the Twitter page of the Big Baller brand, and there's the shoe. And you can see it's kind of an all black, like, I don't know, alligator or snake skin looking like. So it's black and gold, right? Or black and gold, right? Or black and yellow. And it's a basketball shoe. It looks like it's a low top or like a low to mid top.
Yeah.
And but it has the 3 Bs, big baller brand. And then it's got, it looks like it's got snake skin on it. I mean, and then it's got his, Lonzo. Yeah. Lonzo Ball. I don't know. Oh, they got flip flops too. So they're trying to do everything.
I gotta go and find out who designed this, because someone had to have designed that shoe for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we don't even know where he's going in the NBA draft, correct?
Nobody knows. What they know is that He's arguably one of the top 3 players in the draft. Okay, he really was the guy who made UCLA go. Like TJ Leaf was pretty good too, but they had some other dudes as well. But he's dynamic. He passes. They talk to him being like a Jason Kidd. But a lot of people are turned off by his dad. Like people don't like his dad. Players are saying when he gets to the league, we're going to check him because his dad's writing checks his ass can't cash. So they're already kind of getting up on it. The 3 big shoe brands didn't want it. And then you have the Lakers, though. I just read something the other day, maybe it was yesterday or last night, that Lakers are like all in on Lonzo Ball if they get the top pick. He's the guy. He's going to Lakers.
Well,
So-
that'd be cool. He stays local, but the thing is like his dad won, and he doesn't play defense, in my opinion.
Yeah, but he can. He can. He played defense against a couple guys throughout the tournament and even into the Pac-12 season towards the end, and he was pretty good. I mean, he can defend. He's a longer guard, but again, there was a guy on Kentucky that kind of put up a lot of points on him in the tournament, and then he also was slowed down by that guy. But he's not a scorer. He's like what he needs to be around is guys that can score, right? Because he can pass, he can dish, he can shoot when he needs to, but he's a guy that's going to control the game. And the Lakers don't have a guy that can control the game. They got pieces. They just don't have that guy who's going to get that piece of the ball in the right spot. And Lonzo Ball would do that. I also heard that there's a conspiracy that the Lakers are going to get to keep their pick in this draft since it's like a protected lottery pick, or like they have a percentage of losing it and a percentage of keeping it. And I forget the numbers on that. But Magic Johnson told Luke Walton that they were going to... Magic assured me is the way it went. It was Magic assured me we were keeping our pick. So if he assured them in a lottery where it's based on ping pong balls and random chance, he was assured that they're going to keep their pick. That means that someone knows something about something, and that if the Lakers keep their pick, then who did that? Because if it's chance, then they could lose it. If it's not chance, they're keeping it. And I think it's more to the not chance that people are saying, oh, this is rigged if the Lakers get them. But if the Lakers get them or get to keep their pick, they're picking Lonzo Ball. I'd be surprised unless someone took him ahead of them. But if they're top 3 and they're 1 or 2, the likelihood is the Lakers would get him at 3 or 2 or 1 if they get the first pick. But again, Michael Jordan shoes, $140. Big Baller Brand shoe, Lonzo Ball, $458.
Are they out yet?
Yeah, you can order them now. There's a 2-week. So Marcellus Wiley posted something, and it was like his receipt on there. And let's see if I can find it. And he was saying that...
Did he do it to troll them? By any chance, did he do it to troll them? When you have money like that, you could troll someone by...
Sure. So, Marcellus Wiley was like, Phil White had a first day in the office. Kevin Plank had a day 1 on the job. Why not the Ball family? I'm supporting. And then he has this, and it says, and he took a picture of his computer, and it says, Big Baller Brand, order blah blah blah. Thank you, Marcellus. And it says the high demand of our stuff is expecting a 1 to 2 week waiting period. So it sounds like people are buying them, and there are people that are about shoes. You know that. I mean, about shoes, about anything.
Yeah, true, but
$450.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts.
I mean, people have car payments that are that price.
That's what, dude. We're in the wrong business, AJ. We should just get some clothes and like throw it in the mud and bring it out. And it's the new Yeezy clothes. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
Dude, I mean, my buddy Ryan, you know him. He freaking buys his clothes from the thrift shop.
Yeah.
He don't care. He goes, dude, I got this new shirt from the thrift shop, $2. You know, he even got a bunch of old Ventura coaching shirts. He's like, I got it. I'm like, keep them, man. Now you got a collection. But no, it's crazy to think he hasn't even played with anybody in the NBA. He's not signed to any contract with any business outside of his dad's and his family's business. So it's something different. It's unique. It's arrogant. I know people are getting tired of his dad. I think his dad is just said like, oh, I would have beat Jordan in my prime, but he averaged like 2 points a game at Washington State. And then they had some like rec league basketball film of him, and he was just garbage. I mean, he was out of shape and garbage. And so he's talked crap about playing Michael Jordan. He's talked crap about playing Charles Barkley. Like, he would dominate those guys. I'm like, Charles Barkley was a beast when he played, and Michael Jordan is arguably the best player in the game that ever played the game.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. 450. This is like Mayweather Pacquiao. Would you buy these shoes? You just saw a picture of them. What do you think?
No, I would not buy those shoes.
But what if, right? It made you play faster, jump higher, all those things that everybody used to say.
No,
you know, because
bro.
I got to get these new shoes. It's gonna make me run faster and jump higher.
No, that's a lie, dude. That's you gotta go put in work to do that. You know what I'm saying?
I would much rather fucking find some Air Pippins from like '94 and freaking sport those than I ever.
Were those
would.
the ones that said Air on the side?
Yeah.
Because Pippin 2 were probably my favorite
The
shoes.
Pippins were pretty sick, and that was right about the time where Jordan stepped away, and so then Pippin was the guy.
Yeah, I blew out my air pocket, dude, in middle school. I remember 7th grade.
However, though, the pumps, the Reebok pumps, I'd take those in a heartbeat over freaking the big baller brand $450 shoes, because at least I know if I pump my tongue up a little bit, pop, 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 dude, I know I'm going to run faster, I'm going to jump higher, I'm going to be a boss player when I do it.
Oh man.
Oh, shit. Well, I think that's all we got for tonight, because we're going to enjoy Cinco de Mayo. French defeated at the Battle of Lake Titicaca? No.
Puebla.
I'm just messing. Where was it?
The Puebla, I believe.
Finish the history lesson, dude,
I
because
don't-
you talked
I-
about it earlier.
I don't remember, dude, the year, but it was the...
It's not Mexican independence.
It is not. That is El Grito.
El Grito.
Yeah, but I forget when that is, too.
Dude, did I just say a word that didn't exist? That
No.
right now you just got me to say it because you know I'm going to say it. If you say something in Spanish, I try to repeat it all the time.
No, dude, you actually said the yell. But I guess that's it, guys. You guys have a good night. I'm Aurelio Martinez.
AJ Pateris, you guys have a good night. We're the Creeps.